Not real sure that the last retrograde video I made a lot of sense, but that's okay, because here I am again making another one. And every year we know that Mercury going retrograde, right? Right. And as per usual, every year we also know that there are uko billion kind memes online that tell you basically that you should be afraid when Mercury goes retrograde, when any planet goes retrograde, and that is just not the case. My own thinking is that people are scared to death of the things they don't know, and they're more scared of what they do know. And even more scarier than that is knowing what you need to change, or that you need to change. That people just keep going through this same pattern of behavior all the time, expecting different results. You know, maybe you go change the people you go hang out with. But the core middle of it all is that you are still you, and you still have all these patterns of behavior, and sometimes our patterns of behavior are not that great. Yeah. And so each year, Mercury retrogrades 3-4 times. This year it's only going to be 3 times. Usually it's 4. But what not a lot of people are very blatant or very clear about is the fact that when Mercury retrogrades in a sign, it affects that sign. Okay, like this coming, the 21st, what the date? Yeah. From April 21st until May 15th. 3 weeks, right around. Everything having to do with the sign Taurus might be a pain in the okole. And you might be feeling that like right now. Okay, because there is the time before the pre-retrograde. It's about 2 weeks. Yeah, it's about 2 weeks where, just like on preview for a movie or something like a series on Netflix, we are being shown by life, okay, by the cosmos, by those buggers out there up in the sky. We're being shown exactly what needs to change. We're not being given, every single thing. It's not point blank, which is the part that I think scares people the most, is not knowing what it is that we need to change. But usually those things that need to change come right out of our mouth. This time around, everything Taurian, that's, second house, that is Venus, meaning what you love and value. That is your possessions, because, Taurus is earth, and, it does point to earthly possessions. It also is pointing to the landscape, first of all. Okay, so we just had plenty of rain here in, the western part of the United States. And am I saying it's going to happen again? I don't know. It could. But that is the nature of retrograde. Not so much that you need to be afraid, but that it's coming. And you know which sign it's coming in. It's going to be 3 weeks long, right? So my interpretation of Mercury retrograde Taurus is, before you go open a bank account, make sure you know what the new rules are. Before you go put value on or take value away from somebody else, okay, no matter what kind of value, even personal kind where it's not material, be sure that you mean it, because you cannot take it back once you've said it. Before you go sign contracts, okay, for anything, but specifically anything that is Taurian related, which is money, things of value. It is anything related with Venus, including a love for sumptuous food, a love for sumptuous beauty, a love for all that kind of stuff. And when Mercury is in, specifically an earth sign and retrograding, that is everything that it's already manifest. It's already here. Okay. It means that those things need to be, more attention needs to be paid to not the thing, but how we approach the thing, how we approach getting the thing, how we approach making contracts for the thing, how we own the thing, how we appreciate it, right? Okay, so the springtime retrograde in Taurus is going to last, like I said, where I wrote them down, May 14th, right? But right now, it's 2 weeks before it begins on the 21st, you may start feeling a little bit of the pinch, yeah? And that is not a mistake, okay? I don't care which people who tell you astrology is fake. You know what, brothers? Aloha oi. Not to people like me, okay? Which are, people who were raised in tandem, in unison with nature. And that includes all those stars and planets. I've said it before. I'm going to repeat myself often. You saw the movie Moana, the little girl, she had the map on her hand. She looking up at the North Star. That's not pretend. That's real kind, okay? And it's not only about navigating the ocean, even though it is. And it's a totally Polynesian thing where we navigate. But the stars at night, same thing. I do the same thing. I'm just not in a boat. Anyhow, when you have Mercury retrograding in an earth sign, which that is what the retrogrades this year up until the end of this year and into the beginning of next year are earth signs, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. Each one of those things have to do with actual things that are real, things in nature, things in our house, things in our bank account, how we go take care of it, how we look at it, how we own it, all that kind, right? So when Mercury retrogrades, which is the more important thing, yeah, because it doesn't matter which, sign it's in or which house. When Mercury retrogrades, you will see a lot of these memes that tell you basically to remain afraid of this planet. Well, until you became aware of the planet even being there. And then before you knew anything about astrology, Mercury was retrograding and going direct long before any of us guys on this planet were even thought of. So this is not anything new. When planets shift and go retrograde, I like to think of it kind of like, so you get one water cooler, yeah? And all year long, you just put the 5-gallon thing inside there and the water comes out. And nobody bothers to clean it out. Nobody looks inside there. They just wait for the guy to show up, go throw another thing on top, and then see you next time, yeah? Same thing. Except for the goop that collects inside of, the water cooler can be got rid of easily with, cleaning things. But the goop that gets accumulated in us is a different story. And when Mercury retrogrades, right, we are called to be a lot more careful with things that involve our communication. And communication is not just talking, it's also listening, right? Communication is not just talking, it's writing, it's emailing. It is getting your point across, even if you got to get in one train and go make your point personally. That's what this is about. And throughout the year, before Mercury goes retrograde, we continue on with our patterns that we have been doing all of our lives. And every year, Mercury and a couple other things go retrograde. And it's at those times where everything that we're saying, doing, believing, everything involving communication is put in check. is kind of put through, a sieve, like, when you go shake out the rocks from the dirt when you're making a garden. Same thing. You have to be careful. Okay, and human beings don't like to be careful. This is the reason why you see all these ridiculous memes going pretty much go be scared. You don't have to change. Let everything else around you change. Only recently have we been seeing in those memes the explanation as to why people are afraid of Mercury retrograde. The reality is not that they're afraid of the planet or the planet's action. They're afraid of screwing up, of making a wrong decision, of signing something wrong. I asked a friend of mine a couple of years ago when she signed contracts for her house that she bought maybe 1-2 years ago. And the way she explained it was very retrograde, like they had all kind issues when they signed a contract, everything having to do with their home where they live now was all, hemajang. Hawaiians, there's a slang word, hemajang. You know what that means? Send me one DM. My email is down in the information. I'll go explain it to you. But my friend is a very good example of the need to be aware of retrograde when it happens, because it always has to do with communication and how you're communicating, and if you understand what's being communicated to you. That's really what the problem is. Okay, people are afraid that they're saying the wrong thing. They're afraid to speak up and go, I'm sorry, I didn't understand what you said. Why? Because, everybody's walking the planet perfect, yeah? No. And retrograde periods teach us that we are not perfect beings. We are given to our own ridiculous nature where everybody else is subject to our approval, our judgment, all that kind. And then when retrograde happens, well, it applies to everybody, including ourselves. And if you're one of these judgy son of a bitches, oh yeah, retrograde going to come, put you in your place. And it's going to come in the form of you signed this paper or you agreed to that thing, whatever, verbally. Couple weeks or couple months later, here it comes. Something got jacked up. And again, yeah, this Mercury retrograde season, all 3 times, going to be in earth signs. Okay, so please remember that. And I will be back when? At least about retrograde, because the next one going to be August. In Virgo, yeah, I had to go write them down. I got to go write them down. Should be writing things down, in fact, during Mercury retrograde, so you don't forget what you said. Okay. I will be back, maybe today even. Have a good day today. Aloha.